Mental health problems and mental illness can affect anybody, and there's really no way of determining when that can happen or how that's going to happen. When somebody's struggling, don't think it can't be you.
Our brain is our control center for our entire body, and our brain is one of our most powerful organs and complex. So it's not unusual that something might go wrong. And mental health is about having a balance in life and figuring out for yourself kind of what that balance is.
Everyone at my high school would always say I was one of the happiest, most bubbly people there, and so I don't know what really triggered and what really snapped and stuff, but in that time frame, I kind of got less and less of as outgoing as I used to be. I had met this girl, and she at the time was also suffering with mental health and stuff like that, and she kind of introduced me into self-harm. For me, it wasn't I wasn't doing it for attention or anything like that. It was just because what I felt for that moment is that I can't control my emotional pain, but I can control my physical pain. It was just, I felt hopeless. And so I was cutting myself for a year at least, and it was rough. My friends started to notice, and they're like, hey, what's actually going on? Obviously I wouldn't tell them the full truth, and I would just kind of brush it off.
There's self-stigma, which is really strong, right? It's that stigma that comes from within that says, this can't be happening to me. We know that stigma is the number one reason why people don't reach out. It's because they're afraid of those labels.
As people, for some reason, we're ingrained to believe that we can do everything on our own. And it's weak to admit that you need help from somebody else. Even when you're getting a cold, you're like, no, I don't want a cold, I don't want to feel bad, or I don't want to get a flu. And so you kind of try and ignore it as much as you can. And it's the same with the mental health problem. We typically try and ignore it like it's not there because we don't want it to be us.
I knew something was off, especially when you wore the long sleeves. Made me wonder why all of a sudden did this girl that always wore tank tops and t-shirts and was so proud of herself and proud of who you were and proud of your body and you were confident, to suddenly have this change in body image, to cover yourself and to not expose yourself. So that made me wonder what's under those sleeves, what's happening underneath those clothes, because people don't just change like that overnight. They change for a reason. I was pretty sure that you were self-harming, but when I asked you, you wouldn't admit it. And I think it was in grade 9 when you were at school and you actually sent me that formal text to say, you know what, I'm self-harming.
A lot of times it's the conversation or the question of, it seems like something's wrong. Tell me about it, or I feel like something's different. What's going on? And it's just trying to make it okay to admit that I'm not feeling good. You can get to a place where you're comfortable talking about what's actually going on. That's half the battle. And the first step is in recovery is admitting the fact that you can't really do it alone and you do need somebody's help.
At work, I have a couple coworkers that I know if I'm having my really bad day and stuff like that, I can go pull them aside for 5 minutes, talk about whatever is upsetting me. They'll say some words of support and give me a hug and then send me on my way. And it's so important to have people that you can turn to and talk to about these kind of situations.
We often overlook the importance of our relationships around us as the number one resource. As people, sometimes when we hear therapy, we think of the wrong things, because therapy can be listening to music. It can be exercise. Whatever it is that you enjoy in your life, that's therapy. That's self-care. And if you can take care of yourself with those small things on a daily basis, that's going to help with the recovery as well.
A huge turning point for me was when one day I was on Tumblr and I had found this thing called the Butterfly Project. You would take a Sharpie, you would draw a butterfly onto the area that you would be self-harming, and you would name it after somebody that you loved. So I would name it after my mom, my aunt, my best friend. And if the Sharpie had faded away, then you saved the butterfly. Doing that got me to stop. Once I was able to move past that kind of aspect of my depression and stuff, I was able to start looking towards more positive things, because I thought, I've got past one part of this. Now let's get past the second, let's get past the third, let's keep moving forward and keep getting better. If I can get through that, what's next? I can get through anything.
recovery is possible. It just looks different for everybody. Just like we all recover from the flu differently. We all recover from other illnesses differently. You know, two people could break the same bone and recovery time can be completely different.
Recovery is a lifestyle. It has to be something you focus on every day. And the hardest part is recovery is not easy. It's commitment to a process, and that's what recovery is.
It's been a long road, and I see you making big changes every day, and you improve every day. Now, do I still watch you and worry? Every single day. That's never going to change. And I think if you continue to reach out to your supports and be honest and true to you, and be honest and true to everyone around you, I think that, you know what, you're going to succeed.
I know that nothing good comes easy. It wasn't anything to do with anybody else. It was, I finally was like, I need to get myself happy, and I need to get myself to the place where I look in the mirror and I'm actually like, this is who I want to be.